So today we're breaking down a gym launch video, which is Alex Hormozi just on a Zoom call with a bunch of owners shortly after COVID ended. So let's see what he has to say and what I agree with and dislike and what he's wrong on.
All right, I'm going to shut up. Alex, I'm going to let you take it away, man.
Talk, Alex. What's up, everybody? I want to give a little bit of encouragement, which is right now we're a little bit in, the beginning of a recessionary period. I do expect that it will deepen and get worse. But the good news for everyone here is kind of two things. Number one, we have the fortune of having already gone through COVID as a community. No matter what recession has happened in history, not being allowed to do business was the worst. Anything above that, like I would so much rather have a 30% reduction in business than a 100% reduction in business. And yet still, 75% of gyms were able to stay open despite.
I can say I thought that number was wrong. Then I looked it up. It is right. It was 22 to 25% of gyms failed during COVID, which is kind of impressive that that many stayed open.
Being not even allowed to be open. For us, we feel pretty good because we went through COVID. Even through that period of time, despite a decrease in revenue, one of the beautiful things about service businesses, and this is something that everybody here can take to the bank, is that in a service business, you have a decent amount of variable expenses. If you have fewer clients, you can cut class times. You can cut trainers. I'm not saying it's fun, but I'm saying that if we're getting down to the bone, there is room. I say that only to outline that we are in a relatively flexible business, which is nice. And so we have gone through COVID. We have been through harder times. We are well prepared or well equipped to go through a 30% or even 50% downturn. But all that to say, I think we're going to be okay. The second thing that I said is kind of the silver lining is that you really only need to worry about it if you're a loser. And I want to add context to this, which is in recessionary periods, it's not that everyone goes down by 30%. What happens is the bottom 30% goes down by 100%. The people who were skinny dipping, who were above their pay grade in terms of how they were working, they were overselling, under delivering, not reinvesting in their team, not building a culture, not.
But I also think he's wrong because if you're not doing those things and you hit a recession, you probably wouldn't have made it to when the recession hits. Especially in the gym industry. Not reinvesting, not caring for the space is the quickest way to go down, no matter what. So yeah, I think he's kind of off there.
Giving a fuck about their customers. These periods overall, big picture, are actually good for the economy. Unconstrained growth is cancer. Having a pruning period, if you prune a tree, it grows healthier, stronger, taller, faster because you have to cut off the appendages that are not additive to the overall system. And so oftentimes the low performers, rightfully so, don't deserve to be in business. And so if you want to make sure that you are well equipped to get through the tough period, make sure you deserve to get through the tough period. One of the easiest things that I can recommend is that right now, number one is going to be focus. If you have these side doodads that you are waiting to take off and you're like, I've got this other thing that I'm doing on the side, it's going to be awesome. I would recommend you stop that because it bears the assumption that you.
He's right there. He's going to go into why, I'm going to guess. But basically the simple answer is we are not designed to multitask. We are not good at it. We cannot do it. So we just become worse at doing all of our tasks.
Split between 2 ways or 3 ways are better than somebody else 100% invested. And remember, we're just talking about the bottom 30. You just got to beat them. And so it's the easiest way to beat.
But I think he's wrong there. If you're just trying to beat the bottom 30 and you're already doing really well, you can kind of do whatever. You can just do whatever you want and it'll be fine.
Them. If I have a competitor, my favorite thing in the world is to hope they get distracted. I hope they split their attention because it makes it much easier to win because I don't have to beat them. I have to beat 1/3 of them. So just don't be that person. On the flip side, be the very ruthless competitor that you wouldn't want to compete against. The person who always shows up on time, that does the boring work, that does the things that they know they should be doing and actually do them. If you were to make a list of all the things that you know you should be doing but aren't, not even new shit, I probably should be emailing my list on a regular basis and doing a promotion once a quarter. I know I should be doing that, but I'm not. I know I should have semi-privates available, but I'm not. Because I'm lazy, because I'm distracted, because let's put the real one, it's not a priority. Because the same thing that you tell your clients, where they're like, I don't have time to cook my meals, I don't have time to go to the gym. Don't be those people. You make it a priority. And the people who don't make it a priority will lose, and rightfully so.
He's right
what makes
there.
a 6-week challenge is a $100 million offer versus non-free. Free versus non-free is irrelevant as far as the value that you're providing someone. The free offer structure from every single test we have run.
I
and
wish I could give more here.
Tests for
I have
decade.
no clue what he does
my
for his
gyms.
free
I ran
structure.
it with 30 plus gyms.
I know his 6-week structure, and like that is really good. Offering for free does seem kind of weird.
That we did turnarounds on, and
Maybe
we ran
it works.
tests over and over again. Because let me tell you a secret. We would rather not expend the energy overcoming people's limiting beliefs all fucking day. It would be much easier for us if they were even or equivalent in the amount of net money that a gym would make. We will make the recommendation that will make the gyms the most money, because we are vested in people making money so that they can pay us. And so when we looked at it dollars to dollars, the cost per lead, and this is, Kale, you can back because I don't have up-to-date stats, but every time we ran this test,
it's still
cost
true.
Per lead
it's still true.
Was a third free versus non-free. And close rate, guess what, was the same between free and non-free. So all we're doing is paying 3 times the cost to acquire. That's it. If you want to pay 3 times the cost to acquire, by all means do so, but do not complain about it. You cannot have the best of both worlds. That being said, when I sold the 6-week challenge, I never had issues with anyone getting upset. And so if you have issues with people getting upset, it's because you are not convicted. It has nothing to do with the promotion. All you have to do, I promise you, is let 20 people start for free with no money down, and you'll become convicted very quickly that they need to put skin in the game. Best way we know how. It's like, I want to make it free. I want you to win. We have a very high percentage of people who win, and this is the best way I can think of to give you a great deal and give you some incentive to get the results. Because here's another crazy one. If you measure the results on the back end of the 6-week challenge, the people who put the money down versus the people who had money at stake, the people who had money at stake lost more weight. So you're telling me that we get 3 times the customers for the same dollars of ad spend, and we get better results for the people who come in, and that is the thing I don't want to do. Okay, that's fine. Just don't complain about it. What separates those who crush from those who don't is business owners.
Definitely
focus.
right there.
Seriously, it's just focus. It's, can you do this stuff every day repeatedly? What separates...
The way he described it there is discipline, not focus. Because discipline is doing something every day, no matter what, no matter how hard it is, or how much you don't like it. That's discipline. That's not focus. Like, focus is a part of that, but it's more discipline is what he described it as.
Who get crazy results during a transformation from the people who don't. It's not anything sexy. They follow the meal plan, they show up to the workouts, they add progressive overload. They show up on time to their meetings, they interact with their coaches, service with a smile, they sell with conviction, they follow up with their leads regularly, quickly, and often. They run a play every 12 weeks, and they don't stop doing that when they make a little bit more money. If you can shift your goal from the amount of money you make to the type of person you want to be, you won't be satisfied with making 20 grand a month. Because what I see happen over and over again is people get to 20 grand a month, and that was their income goal, and then they let off the gas, which means that they aren't winners. And so make the goal being a winner, because if you made 20 grand a month, you're fucking supposed to. It's like the person who loses weight and then says, you know what, I'm going to cheat a little bit because I'm doing so well, which is a complete fallacy. It makes no sense logically. I'm doing so well, so I'm going to change stuff. Continue on. Keep doing. What kind of internal work have you done to break the news about yourself/worth through stages of your journey, gym launch to GL owner to acquisition.com? I think what shifted is just what the goal was. Like, if you think about like what you're optimizing towards, you change in reaction to your goal. And so if you want to change change the goal you're optimizing for. Most of us wake up every day with a question we're trying to answer. How do I get more leads? How do I sell more memberships? For you guys, figuring out what that question is for you. And if you change that question, you will change your life. Because I can tell you, for me, for a long time, I would say the last 4 years, it's been, how do I increase my net worth? Every decision I made was, is this going to increase my net worth more than something else? I'm feeling that question shift right now, internally for me. And you guys have probably seen it a little bit more in terms of my public-facing brand and all that stuff. And it's been because the question has shifted. It stopped being about net worth and being about goodwill. The decision lens that I use now is like, will this build goodwill? And so you can tell, like, if I wanted to extract value from my much larger audience now, I could do that. I choose not to because I don't think it's going to build goodwill. If you pick a different outcome, you will change in reaction to that goal. In terms of limiting beliefs, it's getting in communities like this and seeing people who are not as good as you do better than you, and then realize.
See, I love that. Like,
that you can do it too, and the only reason you're not doing it is because you're not doing the stuff you know you should be doing. At what point?
Yep, I love that. Like, when you're in community with like-minded people doing the same thing, so whatever that is, whether you're all building gyms, you're all running, together, you're all training for something, you're all like separately doing businesses, something like that, a community of that. You really are pushed because then you see people who are really good succeeding and you're like, I want to be like them. But then you, as he said, see the bad people succeeding and you're like, well, crap, if they can do it, why am I not doing it? Why is my results different? So then what makes you go?
Point is the lady in the red dress, not the lady in the red dress, and the next logical step for a business to grow. Everyone heard the stages of grief? You know, there's 5 stages of grief. Well, there's also one, and I don't know like the title of it, but there's 5 stages of shiny object. The first stage is uninformed optimism. It means that you don't know what you're talking about, and the grass is greener. It looks greener. You don't know enough to know that there's bodies there too, and it's full of shit. You don't know that yet. Uninformed optimism. So then you dive in, and then you get on the other side, and you realize it smells like shit. And you're like, wow. Informed pessimism. Now you know, and you're not as optimistic as you were before. But you continue to trudge on and you're like, well, I did this thing, I'm going to keep moving. Stage 3, Valley of Despair. This is where everyone quits. This is where everyone looks for another shiny object and then jumps to that next shiny object. And most people can't get past step 3. They continue to do 1, 2, 3 over and over and over again. And you will continue to do that through your entire entrepreneurial career until you learn the fucking lesson. Because then you get to step 4, which is informed optimism, which is that you understand the shit, but you understand that if you seed it the right way and in the right temperature, it actually grows a ton of grass. And then step 5 is you achieve the goal and then you reset the benchmark. But most people continue to exit at step 3 and go back to find another shiny object, and they do that for decades. What do you say to someone who says the leads are poor, broke, or not a good fit? We sold in the North, the South, the East, the West, in poor markets and rich markets, in Asian, Black, Native American, Hispanic, white markets. Until the day that men deem women and women deem women more attractive for being overweight, we will have a business. A sale is always made. Either you buy their excuse or they buy your conviction. Like if you really believe, and this is the thing, most people don't believe, really believe. Because it's not do you believe, do you not believe in your product or service, it's how much do you believe. Have you ever talked to somebody who's like a hard...
I think that's really good because if you can convince them to believe that you bring value, the price tag won't really matter. Like they'll just believe it and do it.
Hardcore person of any religion or any ideology like drank the Kool-Aid and ever talk to them long enough, then you start wondering, you're like, maybe they're right. It's because it's not whether someone believes, it's how much do they believe. How deeply do you believe in what you sell? If you fix that, you can change everything, because you also sell from the right frame, which is that you really want to help this person and you're not going to give up on them when they're giving up on themselves. And if you believe that, then no one's too broke. If they can afford a phone and they can afford a car, if they're trying to lose weight, worst case scenario, they don't eat. Win-win. I remember I had this lady who came, she was doing Dave Ramsey's thing, and she was like, I've got this envelope that has my groceries. That's where I would have to take this from. And I was like, well, either you figure out a way to make more money and you're fine, or you can't afford groceries and you lose weight. Either way, we accomplish your objective. What's the worst case scenario? You're going to lose your house?
It's not the right way to do that.
Okay, well, that was what we're trying to accomplish anyways. Now we force you to accomplish it.
If you were advising a big box or micro gym on branding, what's your advice and why?
A brand doesn't exist. A brand's like a bouquet of flowers. A bouquet of flowers doesn't exist. It's just lots of flowers put together. If you
I agree, but I disagree. Mostly disagree. Like, yeah, a brand is a bunch of things put together, but a brand exists. Like, a brand exists because of, like, how everything works. It's like with acquisition.com, like, you associate Alex Hormozi with it because he's the brand behind it. It's his personal brand that really influences you thinking of acquisition.com because he's always wearing the merch, always, like that's why he's always, and that's the brand. Like part of the brand is him. And like branding is one of the most important things too. It's what sets you apart from a gym 4 feet down, like a block across. Like sets you apart from a Planet Fitness.
Had a single wilted flower in a bouquet, it would dramatically affect the way the bouquet looked. There's just like a rotten rose sitting there. For the most part, the brand is kind of the verbal amalgamation of disparate things. And so it's basically adding 6 associations together to make one verbal understanding. You build brand by getting people to associate your brand with a thing they like. So like,
I think he's right, but he's wrong. Yes, your brand is like what people are buying into. And for like a gym, your branding is great. What's the look of the gym? How are the people there? How's the community? What's the machines that you have there? How do they look? Like, that is the branding, and that's what they're buying into. But also, with gyms and like other things as well, the other half of the brand is your like personality. So like the community, the personality of people, and like that shapes your brand. I talked about it in one of my videos with Elevate. They post their posts are them. You have a bunch of gyms that are just doing AI content, like all this other stuff. But like when you actually are posting you, that's your brand. And if you want your brand to just be AI content, great. It's AI content. That's your brand.
What do people like? And so that's why having a good product and a good service experience will build your brand. Word of mouth will build your brand more than just about anything. You can kind of separate this out because you've got the personal brand side and then you've got like a business brand.
I think word of mouth there is great. Yeah, it is what builds your brand. But I think we've, even during this, when it was recorded, it was a slight shift. Now I think we're really there, and we're gonna get even more into it. I think of like word of mouth, like face-to-face word of mouth between friends and family, but also word of mouth online. Now that's not technically word of mouth, but it is at the same time, because it's like what you're saying or what you're posting is then reflecting into your content, into your brand, into who you are. So yeah, word of mouth is great. It's just shifted.
Brand side. The business brand side, by a large margin, is going to be dictated by the product. Brand is product minus promise. Really amazing product, really small promise. Subtract it, you've got a lot left over. That's brand building. The flip side is really shitty product minus really big promise is really bad brand. You want to promise so you get people to buy, but you still want to under promise and still over deliver. I really want to set clear expectations so that I can exceed them, because I know that that's the long.
Always good.
There's only two things you can do to have.
Always do a little bit more than what you talk about. And a little bit more can mean whatever, but because they want to stay with you longer, work with you more. It's the same way in every industry, not just gyms.
A compounding wealth machine from a business perspective. You either sell shit people don't stop buying, or you get people to sell for you that never stop selling. 3 years from now, if all the people you signed up this year are not paying you still, you don't have a compounding machine. You have to keep hunting every single month. It's very tiring, and you don't get credit for the work you did a few years ago.
See, right there is where he's right. But you also can, if you do it well. If you work with me, the stuff that's 3 years ago can be used to give you more clients now because of the proof behind it. Because say 3 years ago, you had someone lose 150 pounds in your gym. Well, that's pretty impressive. That's a lot of weight. And if all you have is a Google review that people maybe see, like, yeah, of course your 3 years ago stuff isn't doing anything for you. But if you take that, post a reel, and then it's now on Instagram, it's doing stuff for you. It's on your website, it's doing stuff for you.
Contrast that with something like someone who's in wealth management. As soon as they get someone's funds and they invest them, people stay for like 20 years. They get paid for work they did 5 years ago. And so if we're in a business that is more transactional, then
obviously, yeah, he's right. You don't get paid for that work.
Affiliates and things like that come in. It's like if you know, for example, that you can make deals with local businesses that will send you leads on a regular basis, and as soon as you turn that node on, they will consistently supply you with 5 customers a month. That means you did a deal with a business, and 2 years later, they're still sending you 5 customers a month. Now, you don't have customers that stay forever, but you have an affiliate that does. The guys who do semis, the guys who get their churn below 3%, make significantly more money profit-wise than everybody else. If you can focus on solving that problem, the making money part is significantly easier because you stop having to reinvent the wheel every month and pull another rabbit out of your ass. because you get credit for shit you did 6 months ago.
If you still had a gym, would you prefer less staff who are killers who divide the task, or more people divided to the different roles?
I would have the absolute simplest model possible. I would probably run, and again, this is me, so I have a different skill set. I would probably be running all high ticket semi-private. One manager incentivized off profit share, one guy in the morning, one guy in the afternoon part-time. 100 members, 500 grand a year. 50% margins, 1,500 square feet, 4,000 a month in rent tops in a nice retail spot.
How do you take premium service to luxury? Is it price-based or is it based from status?
The fundamental thing that separates luxury from premium is like an above average service, like Lexus is premium, a Ferrari is luxury. Luxury goods increase in demand as you increase the price. But the key part of making something a luxury good is that it confers status to the buyer as a function of its price. So if you just...
right there, that's great. I want to add, like, luxury for gyms is kind of weird because most of it is going to be reinvesting into the business, so getting newer machines, cooler machines. So now getting mega mass machines, or if you really want to, because they're cool. I don't know how good they are of a knockoff, but the China Cybex stuff, which I don't suggest doing, but I know there's a lot of video and popularity around that now. But also, luxury would be videos. Having those high quality videos that are recorded not from a phone like everybody has, but on a professional camera with someone who works in the gym space.
Charge a lot of money, that doesn't necessarily make you a luxury. There has to be status associated with your brand. That's why branding is so important. Is the how much you spend on fitness something you brag about to anyone? Probably not. So I wouldn't try and think of this as like, how do I go to luxury? I'd be like, how do I make my thing so good that I get all the rich people to refer their rich friends, because then they get status through the referral. Like,
work
you
with
look
the
great.
rich to make it,
this
to
guy's
become
awesome.
rich.
He's so good. And then they get status because they help their friend out, because you're actually good. I appreciate you guys. I promise that it is going to get worse if you don't stay disciplined. So stay disciplined. Don't splurge on stuff. Do your big list of should do's. Don't get distracted on things you know you shouldn't do. In your gut, you know you shouldn't do a bunch of stuff and do it anyway. Stop doing that, right? Look at the constraint of the business, over deliver on the customers, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think was right on a lot. Obviously, a lot of this was more towards gym owners, but I think some of the things like the branding and a couple other things he was definitely wrong on. But that's why gyms are normally never, like, always evolving as well, I think, and never going to stop evolving. So 3 years ago is a lot different from now in a lot of ways, but that's why gyms are going to continue to grow, is because they are evolving. So that was the breakdown of Alex Hormozi, and from it we learned that branding is more important. High quality videos are also important, but also just doing the stuff is important.